Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. This video is going to be about one thing that puts you at an advantage point over a narcissist once you recognise it, and one reason why you can change and narcissistic people seem unable or unwilling to change. And it's all about taking responsibility for our own behaviour. Thank you very much to all the returning subscribers and your continued support with the channel. If you are new to the channel, I'm Elizabeth Shaw. This channel is all about the narcissist personality disorder, to give you more understanding of the people you might be dealing with in your life, how to handle yourself around those people if you cannot go no contact, and different methods to find what works for you as a person to help you overcome narcissistic abuse. If you do find the information helpful on the channel, please do subscribe. Responsibility is another reason why people stay way longer than they ever should have in the dynamics of a narcissistic relationship, whether that's narcissistic parents, narcissistic bosses, narcissistic partners, narcissistic adult children. There's so many things that go into the dynamics of these relationships, but one of the underlying reasons that people stay, one of the underlying reasons why narcissists can gain control, and one of the underlying reasons why narcissistic people don't change is all to do with taking responsibility. Being able to take responsibility for your own behaviour is an excellent characteristic within yourself. It's an excellent standard to have. However, we have to make the difference between the two. We have to accept responsibility for our own behaviour and recognise that other people are responsible for their own behaviour and no longer take on board the responsibility of others. Taking responsibility is having that duty to deal with your actions, deal with your emotions, deal with your circumstances, deal with events, deal with your words, your behaviour. Being accountable for your own actions, being willing to accept fault, being willing to make a mistake and take ownership of that mistake, to be able to learn from that mistake, to be able to take the blame for the management of ourselves. There is so many things that we just don't know until we've lived through it. The old saying of hindsight is a wonderful thing. When you're in a situation that you don't know anything about, you don't know any different. It's only till you come out the other side that you can work out what actually went on, and then take that experience, well, leave the experience, take the lesson with you in your present towards your future so that it doesn't happen again. Narcissistic people, they don't take responsibility for their own behaviour, which is why they don't learn. They just learn that that behaviour works for them, and they have lots of different manipulation methods to pass responsibility over to somebody else so that you don't recognise what the narcissist is doing to you, which can keep you trapped in that loop, in that pattern. Narcissistic people, they feel entitled to have what they want. They can be incredibly envious of others, and they have a high willingness to exploit people to get their needs met because they lack the empathy to care for how their behaviour affects those around them. And they don't take responsibility for their behaviour. They pass responsibility over to somebody else. A narcissist mindset is that didn't happen, and if it did, it wasn't my fault, and if it was, it wasn't that bad, and if it was that bad, somebody else made me do it, and if you didn't make me do it, then you deserved it. They're not going to take any responsibility for their own mistakes, for their own flaws, for their own negative actions, their own negative behaviour, their own mistreatment of others. They're going to pass that responsibility over to somebody else. And when people are willing to take responsibility for their own behaviour, they more often than not, due to the narcissist gaslighting, projection and blame shifting, take responsibility, take ownership of the narcissist's behaviour as well as their own. Often then questioning whether they are the narcissist or not, because the narcissist is manipulating them to take responsibility for not only what goes wrong within their own life, not only the mistakes that you make, but the mistakes that the narcissist makes, the things that go wrong within the narcissist's life. They pin the blame on anybody and everybody they can to escape taking responsibility for their behaviour. We need to take responsibility to be able to change something. And the thing is, when a narcissist passes responsibility over to us, when they blame us, we go all out to change. We change our perception, we change our approach, we change our circumstances, we change our values, we change our beliefs, we change our boundaries. We change our personalities, we change our hopes, we change our dreams, we change the way we talk, we change the way we walk to suit the narcissist, because they've made us feel like we were the ones in the wrong. And when we change to suit what the narcissist wants, the narcissist then rewards us. So for example, if a narcissist wants something from you that goes against one of your values, so you say no to the narcissist, so the narcissist falls silent on you because yes, you've hurt the narcissist's sense of entitlement. So yes, it has hurt their feelings. However, their sense of entitlement is their responsibility, not yours. Your values are your responsibility. Well, the way they do this is they fall silent. So you assume you've hurt them in some way. Yet them falling silent on you is causing you pain. So you go all out to change, to help them so that they don't fall silent on you. And when you change, when you do what they wanted you to do, they will talk to you again, reinforcing that it was your fault. So you take responsibility for something that actually wasn't your fault. As people can hurt other people's feelings, people can lie. When someone has lied to another person, that other person might fall silent because they've been hurt because somebody lied to them. The person who lied to them, their lie is their responsibility. That's their fault. Your feelings for having someone lie to you, your responsibility to deal with. If you choose to fall silent and take some time to gather whether you want to be around that person or not, that isn't to hurt their feelings. They are the ones that hurt your feelings. However, a narcissist is going to twist it any way they can. They're going to lie to you, and when you fall silent on them, they're going to blame you for falling silent on them so that you take responsibility for their behaviour. Yet, you can just say no to a narcissist's entitlement, which undoubtedly hurts their feelings, and they are going to turn it against you to train you to say yes to them, to please them. It's all in the intentions behind the behaviour. A narcissistic person who is someone who's going to, it's one rule for them and another rule for everybody else. They are going to do as they believe they're entitled to do, and if it's wrong, they're going to pass responsibility over to you. You're going to do what you think is right at that moment in time, and when you make a mistake, you're going to keep responsibility and change you. So when a narcissist passes responsibility over to us, we believe that we need to change. Change to create a difference. Change to help them out. Change to stop them falling silent on us. Stop them disappearing on us. Stop them hurting us. Because we believe our behaviour is what's causing them to hurt us, and not it's their behaviour of who they are as a person, which is why they hurt us. They hurt us because of who they are, not because of who we are. Yet we change because we believe it's something we've done. So we might change our perception, and a narcissist will cause that reasonable doubt within our mind. They will make no end of excuses that sound rational within our mind. So we will change our perception of events. But we change them to take responsibility and work things out. A narcissist changes their perception of events to escape responsibility and pass the blame over to somebody else. We change to hopefully get a different outcome that benefits everybody. A narcissist changes the story to benefit themselves. We adjust to achieve something that we said we would achieve with that person. A narcissist adjusts to exploit people all the more. We change to resolve, to find a solution to the situation at hand. A narcissist changes to resolve to get away with their behaviour, to find a solution where they can get away with their behaviour. We change our course of action so that we don't suffer the pain again. A narcissist changes their course of action so they don't suffer consequences for their actions. When you take responsibility for your own behaviour, you're able to change your behaviour to benefit yourself and benefit others. When you don't take responsibility for your behaviour, you're unable to change your behaviour in the benefit of others. You're only able to change your behaviour in the benefit of yourselves, which is why narcissistic people do change temporarily to benefit themselves. However, because they pass responsibility over to other people, that change is never permanent, because they just learn new ways of getting away with their behaviour. Narcissists learn that when they change the game on you and you work harder to please them, that they will reward you with something so that you take responsibility, so that that reward reinforces within your mind that it was your fault when it wasn't your fault. They're rewarding your good behaviour for doing right by them. They're training you up like a child. When it comes to responsibility and change, we are all responsible for our own behaviour. We are not responsible for other people's behaviour. We are not responsible for other people's mistreatment of us. We are not responsible for other people's actions towards us. Yes, we can all be conditioned into acting a way that is out of character, but this is difficult at the time, because at the time you don't see it. After the event, this is when we have to recognise that somebody brings out the worst in us. And as we take responsibility, narcissistic people will bait you. They will provoke you to get that reaction from you so they can blame everything on you, because you're somebody who takes responsibility for your behaviour. And yes, we have to take responsibility to the fact that we reacted to them. We have to take ownership of our behaviour. However, we have to pass responsibility back to them for the fact that they provoked us to bring out the worst in us so that they could blame us, so that they don't have to take responsibility for their behaviour. We around them can react badly to them, emotionally, we can react badly to them. They bring out the worst in us. Therefore, our responsibility is to recognise how we are around them, how we feel around them, and take a sidestep away from those who bring out the worst in us. Not try to change ourselves to please them so that they don't bring out the worst in us. Change ourselves in a direction away from them so that we can bring out the best in us. When it comes to changing our approach with narcissistic people, it's a case of we just have to let them be who they want to be. If they don't want to recognise their behaviour, it's not our responsibility to teach them. It's our responsibility to teach ourselves that they don't want to take responsibility. Therefore, if they're not going to take responsibility, they're going to go all out to make us take responsibility. We're not responsible for their behaviour. We are responsible for ours. Therefore, we have to make a choice to walk away. It's not easy when you live it because you don't know any different. And somebody who takes responsibility is a prime target for a narcissist because it's far easier for a narcissist to shift all the blame over to those willing to take responsibility so that the narcissist doesn't have to take responsibility. You don't know what you don't know. When you live it, it's very difficult to see it. Even if you, once out of the event, you can think, oh, I saw that red flag. Oh, I knew I felt uncomfortable then. I knew something seemed a bit off about them. However, when you're in it, you don't know any different. It's a case of accepting the responsibility that at the time you did not know any difference. Life's a learning curve. It's here for us to grow and develop and change. We did not know any different at the time while we lived it. However, we need to take responsibility now that we do know different. Therefore, we can change how we respond to certain people so that they can no longer blame us for our reactions, for our responses. And we can use what we learned in our past to help us in our present create a better future. Taking responsibility for one's own behaviour is an excellent quality to have. However, we do have to learn to pass responsibility back to the rightful owner for their behaviour. And then we have to make a change as to whether that person should be in our lives or not, based on whether we can bring the best out in each other, or if we bring the worst out in each other, it's time to step away. If you don't feel safe around someone, it's time to find a safe way out. Don't punish yourself for taking responsibility. It's a good quality. But just take responsibility of your own thoughts, your own opinions, your own behaviour, and leave others to take responsibility of their own thoughts, opinions and behaviour. You cannot make somebody take responsibility. People have to be willing to take responsibility for themselves. People have to be willing to educate themselves. People have to be willing to learn for themselves. You can get all the advice in the world, you can get all the support in the world, you can get all the reward, punish in the world, but if somebody doesn't want to take ownership of their behaviour, if someone doesn't want to take responsibility for their behaviour, they're not going to change their behaviour. And if someone's going to take responsibility for someone else's behaviour, they're going to end up in a lifetime of pain. You are responsible for you. Other people are responsible for themselves. You can either work together and grow together, or distance yourself from each other. Thank you very much for listening. If anyone has any thoughts on the video, please add those into the comments. Go out there and create the day that you deserve, because you do deserve to have an amazing day. Bye.